if you look at what Judilo has said, he is almost on the same page with you that we're good and ready to go with these particular elections. But again, it would seem that some other arguments away from the issue of the courts are just popping up. We're talking about the use of military for this particular election.
Yes.
But we'll also go into the Constitution being a lawyer.
Yes.
What do you hold for or against that particular argument?
It's funny when people come and raise issues against the use of military. Even the United States has just recently warned its citizens against traveling during the election period for the reason of violence. And if you look at some states, about 20 states in Nigeria today use a combination of military and police in the anti-robbery war. So if we have accepted that there are certain situations where you would need military to help out in the security situation, why not you accept that there may also be reasons during elections that you may use military? Now, on the legal perspectives, it's a statutory provision. Section 218 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, is very clear in saying that the president can deploy the military for operational use. And further to that, Section 8 of the Armed Forces Act also gets it very clear across that the president has a right to deploy the military for operational use. And it went ahead to define operational use to say, for the purpose of maintaining and securing public safety and public order. Now, from our antecedents, we have seen that the police has failed Nigerians in protecting citizens. In 2011, a lot of people died after the elections. We saw ballot box snatching in 1999, 2003, 2007, and we saw that the police couldn't handle the situation. In some cases, we also saw that the police collected bribe and turned the other way.
That wasn't,
and aided, and aided. Hold on, let me make that point.
That wasn't because the military wasn't deployed.
No, I am saying that the police has failed.
In 2011, the military was deployed and all of this happened.
No, in the 2011, the military was deployed not to the extent of protecting citizens. The military was deployed not to the extent that it has been deployed in Edo State, Ondo State, Anambra State, or Ekiti State, and Osun State. There is a clear need that the military should not necessarily interfere in the electoral processes, but be very alert. As at 2011, there was no tendency that people may be killed, youth corpers may be killed after the elections. That was a lesson. Just as soon as that started happening, the military got into the situation and calmed the situation. So legally speaking, we must get it very clear. They've spoken about the judgment of the Court of Appeal and the Federal High Court in Sokoto State. But there is a clear principle of law that you cannot remove a statutory power, you cannot remove a statutory function, except you amend that statute or that statutory provision to remove that power.
But some members of the House of Reps said, look,
yes,
those judgments took into consideration all of these perspectives,
yes,
and still arrived at that.
And let me also make this point in response to you. The one in Court of Appeal was an obiter dictum. It was a by-the-way statement that the Justice Aboki said, by the way, that the military ought not to have been deployed, that whoever deployed the military to use it to intimidate people did wrong. Now, that does not bind the president in exercising his statutory power. For example, you cannot say the president should not sign a budget merely because a content of the budget is against something that you have. And you get it. So, and the Federal High Court in Sokoto State also made its position clear in saying that military should not be used to supervise. If you read the judgment very well, it said to supervise election. That raises the point of in what way can the military be involved in elections? There are 5 ways that the military can be involved in the election. 1, as members of the electoral management body, for example, INEC as it is in Nigeria. 2, they may want to contest elections. 3, they may have to participate in a quasi-administrative or purely administrative manner. 4, they may have to vote. Or 5, they may just provide security for the purpose of protecting the electoral materials and for the purpose of preventing. Yes, these are 5.
As spelled out by who?
Spelled out by me. Those are the 5 areas that the military may be involved
So
in an election.
I'm sure you're
From
trying
number one
to, sorry,
two,
I'm sure
yes.
you're trying to define the word in section 218D, operational use.
Yes, I've done that. Operational
Yes.
use means maintaining and securing public safety
And that's where you
and public order. That's
you
where the
got
power
the
of the
five,
president.
the five. No,
Yes,
out of.
yes. Number one is that they are members of the electoral management body. Obviously, the Nigerian military is not member. It's not the Nigerian military cannot be members of INEC presently, and that rules that one out. Number two, contesting elections, they cannot contest elections. That rules that out. Number three, being providing quasi-administrative support. That, like for example, registering voters, joining in counting of votes. They are not involved to that extent. And that rules that out. Number three is voting. They are citizens. They are entitled to vote. But number four is where we are talking about. That is the point of involvement that we are speaking about, that INEC can provide security for sensitive electoral materials and to prevent violence where there is likelihood of violence. And we have known that Nigerian elections have very big likelihoods of turning out violent. And as such, it is begging the question, it's a given in my view, that security must be provided at the highest level. In point of fact, if you are saying logically that the military may be used by the federal government to rig elections, then why don't they use the police? They also have to use the police. Because the police is the federal government agency.
The thing is this, are you worried though, this lack or this loss of faith, as it were, in institutions, in national institutions? Because Mr. Elo made a point. He said that this is not so much as to, as we stand currently as a country, the military is deployed in 32. Only 4 states do not have the military in them as it stands.
Yes.
And that this is more about having them act professionally.
Yes.
Is this something that's also of concern to you?
Yes, of course, it's of concern to me. Across Nigeria, across the board, in Nigeria, all sectoral situations in Nigeria, you would agree with me that we have institutional failures. Maybe it's not institutional failures because in the first place, some of the institutions have not been established, talk less of failing. We need to establish strong institutions instead of strong individuals. And as a result, you see that even the military itself needs to strengthen itself. So it's because of failed institutions, lack of strong institutions, that you see that the military has come out to provide this kind of security. And people are losing faith in the institutions themselves because of what is happening across board, not because of just the military. Every sector of Nigeria has failed institutions. And so we have to address the issue of failed institutions instead of happening it only upon the military. That, in point of fact, gave us good election in Edo State, gave us good election in Ondo State, gave us appreciably good election in Ikeji State, gave us good election in Osun State, and gave us good election in Anambra State.
Is this something we should encourage, though?
All right.
Yes, I think for now, except we have reorientated ourselves to imbibe the democratic ethos, we need to imbibe it.
Thank you, Mr. Ikeji,
so
a legal practitioner. We'll be back in just a moment and see if we can take... We've taken a lot of comments, haven't we? But we'll be back anyway. Join us again.